There are 6 frugal habits that really took off during 2008. Habits that may have been forgotten, but could be more relevant now than ever. And make sure to stick around till the end because I'm saving the most practical tip later in the video, so you don't want to miss that. 1. Nature was the AC. Okay, let's talk about something that probably started a few family arguments back in 2008, the thermostat. Energy costs were climbing and families were looking at their heating and cooling bills like, how did this get so expensive? So they did something radical. They put on a sweater. Lowering your thermostat by just 5 to 10 degrees when you sleep every night could save you up to 15% on your heating and cooling bills. So for the average family, that could be about $200 to $400 a year. Not life-changing money, but definitely nice dinner out money. I remember as a kid living in Florida, it would still get pretty cold from the months of January to March, but even with these cold fronts, my dad would never use the heater. He would just say, put on a jacket, because right now, for these few months, we are getting some free AC. That made it really easy to fall asleep at night, bundled up in the cold sheets, but in the mornings, it was really hard to get up. Either way, I'm sure we were saving some money over the long run, but this is just one of those things you can subtly do to increase your savings in times of uncertainty. 2. Errand batching. If you think back to 2008, gas was hitting $4 a gallon all across the country, and suddenly driving wasn't just about transportation. It was a budget line item that you really had to think about. So that's why families started doing something smart. They batched their errands. Instead of taking 5 separate trips during the week, they'd plan one big loop on Sunday. They'd hit the bank, grocery store, pharmacy, library, all in one strategic route. And some families even took it further. They started walking to places within a mile. Not for exercise, although that's a nice bonus, but just because it saved gas money. I remember back then my music teacher started biking to work twice a week, not every day, but he figured he could save about $30 a month on gas, and he even told us that those bike rides became the best part of his day. No traffic, no radio ads, just 20 minutes of quiet, calm peace before work. Overall, the habit that stuck for most people wasn't the biking, it was the planning. Before my mom and I would leave to go do these errands, she would always ask everyone, what else do I need to do while I'm out there? It's such a simple question that we can ask our household members today, but it could save you multiple trips and over time, real money. And just a side note, if you live somewhere walkable, that is a plus. That 15-minute walk to the coffee shop instead of driving might save you $3 in gas and parking, and if you do that twice a week, you're looking at over $300 a year. 3. Secondhand first. This one's interesting because 2008 made thrift shopping cool before it was trending on social media. And the reason I know it wasn't cool yet is because Macklemore didn't drop his thrift shop song until 2013. Families were not shopping secondhand because it was vintage or sustainable. They were doing it because that $200 winter coat at the department store was now $25 at the thrift store. It's the same warmth, but 87% less money. It was mostly kids' clothing that led to people going to thrift stores. Children grow so fast, as we know, and buying new feels almost wasteful. It would always be tough buying a $30 pair of jeans that would only fit for 6 months, so why would we have to splurge on something quality if they're just gonna grow out of it in a few months? Heck, I remember that my parents would have me wearing clothes 2 sizes too big for me, so I would grow into it over the next year or two, or I would always just get hand-me-downs from my brother's closets. And even outside of just clothes, furniture, books, kitchen gadgets, sports equipment, people started checking Craigslist before heading to the store. And here's what's surprising looking back, a lot of people discovered that they liked the hunt. They loved finding a deal. They enjoyed finding a solid wood bookshelf for $30 instead of $200 because it felt like they were winning. And to be honest, some of those habits lasted today, and it wouldn't hurt for us to feel that chase and that win in 2025. The unwritten rule that developed was simple. Check secondhand first. If you couldn't find what you need, then you would buy new, but you would always start with secondhand. But just a little disclaimer, it might not be the best idea to buy everything used. For example, mattresses, car seats, anything safety related. You'd probably want to consider getting that new as opposed to inheriting someone's bed bugs or an item that's just unsafe. So ask yourself, before you click add to cart online, check if it's available used somewhere else. Even if that saves you 30%, that really does add up over time. 4. Free entertainment. Entertainment spending was one of the first things families cut in 2008. Movie tickets, restaurants, concerts, they all felt expensive when you're watching every dollar. So do you know what happened? Families got creative. And I remember this because libraries became entertainment centers, not just for books, but for free movie nights, kids programs, computer access, and the local parks became the default weekend destination. Game nights at home or kickball with friends replaced dinners and movies. Currently, the average family spends about $3,600 a year on entertainment, but during the recession, many families cut that in half and discovered something interesting. They weren't less happy because they didn't spend as much money on fun. Sometimes they became more connected because they got creative together. I remember at that time, one of the biggest sources of entertainment for my family was doing these word board games like Boggle and Scrabble. We used the heck out of those games and they never wore down, they never got outdated because every game was different. So the lesson here is not that paid entertainment is bad, it's just that we can get a lot of quality time and fun out of free and creative things. So one thing we can bring back is checking our local library's event calendar because they're still doing stuff. And even on social media, there are different events pages for your specific town. That could be a great way to find some free or very cheap ideas to have fun. 5. Want a carpool? This one was probably the biggest leap for most families. Going from 2 cars to just 1 in 2008 wasn't just about saving money. It was about completely changing how you thought about transportation. The families who tried this technique were saving some serious money by cutting down on their car usage. We're talking $3,000 to $5,000 a year in car payments, insurance, gas, and maintenance. Of course, at the time, carpooling felt like a huge hassle, like who's gonna drop the kids off at school, how do we both get to work now, and what do we do when emergencies happen? But families over time did figure it out. Carpools became friendship opportunities, walking or biking became routine, and you know what? A lot of families said they started talking more because they had to coordinate their schedules together. In the world today, we don't have to take on carpooling as an all or nothing thing. Maybe you keep both cars, but designate certain days as 1 car days. Or maybe you can explore if one of you can work from home, or maybe just remember to hit up a friend every now and then to see if you can coordinate schedules to save some money. Like literally next week, I'm going to the airport and my friend and I are gonna carpool there to save some money. 6. The cash envelope challenge. Let's be honest here, back in 2008, money was tight, so families went old school using cash envelopes. And here's how it worked. You'd get your paycheck, you'd head to the bank, and you would withdraw cash for different spending categories. Groceries would be a designated envelope that you would put cash into, and once you used up all that cash, then there was no more money left for groceries. Gas got its own envelope, entertainment got its own envelope, and that was the surefire way to avoid overspending. And I know what you might be thinking, that sounds very unrealistic in today's world, like who even uses cash anymore? But hear me out. Studies show that people are twice as likely to spend more money when using a card than cash, because handing over physical money activates different parts of your brain because it feels like a bigger loss. Swiping a plastic card, you don't really feel that as much. And if you're hesitant to start this frugal habit, you don't have to go full cash right off the bat. Maybe if there's an aspect of your life that you continually overspend in, like entertainment, it would be very helpful to adopt the cash envelope method in order to manage that spending for that one category. And now that we're talking through some practical actions we can take to be more frugal this year, here are a few more ideas. 1. Try a 7-day pantry challenge. Before you run to the grocery stores, see what meals you can make with what you already have. 2. Set a thermostat challenge for 1 week. Pick a temperature and stick with it, and layer up if you need to. 3. Before buying anything over $50, check if it's available secondhand first, when it makes sense. I don't want you guys getting bed bugs because you found a couch off the side of the road. 4. Plan one fun weekend activity that costs less than $20 for your whole family. Here's the overall thing about those 2008 lessons. They weren't just survival skills, they were life skills. And the families who learned them, a lot of them kept using these habits even when times got better. Because it turns out, spending less money on stuff you don't really need means having more money for the stuff you actually care about. And if economic uncertainty is making you nervous, you're not starting from scratch, you're starting from experience. These habits worked very well back then, and they could work for you now today. So if this video helped you think differently about saving money, make sure to subscribe for more practical tips every week. And if you're ready to take your money management to the next level, check out our video on building your first emergency fund right here, because the best time to prepare for uncertainty is before you need it. Give it a click right here, and I'll see you guys on the next one.